Hi guys! Today we're doing a doll repaint inspired by Elsa from Frozen. I went to a toy store and found this Elsa wannabe doll. It was marketed as a snow queen and it's clearly an attempt of Elsa, but a pretty cheap one. The head shape is not quite right, but I took it as a challenge. The first thing to do was to free the doll from its crown and the earrings. It's looking better already. I used a piece of tape to stick away the front lock so it wouldn't get in the way for now. To remove the face you need something with acetone in it. I'm using this nail polish remover that's pretty strong. Use some Q-tips and cotton pads. The paint comes off easily and then you see the true shape of the doll. Before we can paint on a new face, we need to make the surface a little more susceptible. I used this spray meant for plastics. My friend Sugartime Shop bought this when she did her repaint video and was kind enough to lend this to me. I removed the dress and covered the doll's hair with some kitchen wrap before I wrapped it all in paper and took it outside where I could spray it. To paint the new face, I mainly use pastels, both on a wet and a dry brush. Then I also use my pencil that has a watercolor effect, but I mainly use the pastels. The first thing I did was to mark out where the eyes were gonna go. As you can tell, my colored pencil wasn't really good for this, so I switched to the pastels pretty quickly. In case you don't know, Sugartime Shop has actually made a Elsa doll from scratch, so if you haven't seen that, you should really go check it out. Here I'm using the pastels on a wet brush, which is much like working in watercolors. I find the eyebrows to be some of the hardest features to get right, because it really changes the expressions of a character if you do them wrong. Whenever I want something kind of smoky or fading, I use the pastels dry and just brush them on and gently fade them out with a brush. The only downside to using the pastels wet is that it can kind of pool and be hard to layer it sometimes, but I did my best and this was my first try of doing a repaint. And that's the eyes done. If you want, you can add a highlight like I did. I used white paint and this was pretty much the only paint I actually used in this video. Next was the lips. These were more of a challenge because the doll itself had bigger lips than Elsa does, so I drew them on a bit smaller to kind of fake it. Then brush on some red pastel for blush, cause Elsa has pretty red cheeks. Then I brushed on brown and white for shadows and highlights to kinda alter the shape of the face. For instance, I got a little on the temples, but also on the chin, cause the chin of this doll was a little too pointy. And there you go, that's the face done. I sealed it with the same spray as before and left it to dry before moving on to the hair. This doll came with a braid, so I started by taking that out. Since this was a pretty cheap doll, it doesn't actually have hair on the top of its head, only like in a circle around. So I had to be kind of strategic of how I did the hair so she wouldn't look bald. I pulled the very front row of hair forwards and secured with a hair tie and then braided the rest so I could flip it back and kind of cover the bald spot. To keep the top section in place, I used some tacky glue. Because this doll had a forehead that was a little too big, I glued down the front hair to make it seem a little smaller. Then I pulled the hair back in sections and glued it in place. Remember to leave a little lock of hair going forwards. And there you go, that's our Elsa repaint done. This was my first time ever doing anything like this, so let me know if you want to see more and if you want me to make an Elsa dress to go with this. Thank you so much for watching, I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave me a like if you did and subscribe if you want to see more. Bye!